Dr. Euser. I'm owner and founder of Advanced Urgent Care and Occupational Medicine. Here today to talk about return to work and how do we get people back to work, how do we keep our workers safe, how do we keep our customers safe, and how do we stay in business. The biggest thing is how do we keep employees safe and how do we make sure that our staff is safe from other employees. One of the things that you can do is taking everyone's temperature as they come to work each day. Now, some places like to take the temperature at work. Some people want to do a self-reported where people can take their temperature at home. But the big thing is that if the temperature is equal to or greater than 100 degrees, then we want that person to stay at home and not come into work until we can get further testing on that employee. Our fatigue, chills, muscle aches, upper respiratory cough symptoms. And the newest one that's kind of out there, but it's hard to identify, is loss of taste or smell. I think one of the hardest things is we want to get ourselves back in business. We want our employees to get back to work so they can start earning money, and we want to start seeing customers. If they have a temperature or they have those symptoms that we mentioned, this is the time where we have to go to the next step. And that next step would be getting them tested for the COVID virus. So you have to be able to contact an organization like ours, which can do the actual PCR test so we can see if they are shedding virus. What can we do to reduce the spread? Cleaning and disinfecting are one of the big things we can do. Hard surfaces, countertops, plastic surfaces, metal surfaces, that virus can stay on those for a long period of time. Some of the disinfectants, particularly Clorox, can be used to clean those surfaces. So if we can clean the metal surfaces, plastic surfaces multiple times during the day, that's a real benefit to helping reduce the spread of the virus. The other thing is social distancing, keeping that 6-foot distance. If we can keep the social distancing, that again helps us keep from spreading the virus. Masks. Even though masks seem to be very difficult to wear and they're hot and can be uncomfortable, they're a huge thing in helping reduce the spread of the virus. What do you do when someone is positive, test positive for COVID-19 in your workplace? What do you have to do to make the place safe again? Part of that is to isolate those areas off that person was working. And if you can give it some time in between, it allows that virus to basically die. And then get in there to disinfect. If we disinfect right away, that virus still may be alive in there and it has the potential spreading to another employee. Other thing is get that employee tested and get them at home so they're not infecting anyone else. The people at work, they don't have to be isolated at this point. Lots of information out there that has changed over the course of time. At first, when we first saw the virus infecting workplaces, we were shutting down workplaces, and that's not the case anymore. But the idea is that we isolate that person who was sick. We then monitor the folks that were close to them, making sure they don't become symptomatic. If they do become symptomatic, we need to test them to make sure what's going on. But the other thing is to keep good social distance, disinfect the areas of the workplace, especially where that person was tested positive. One thing to remember is that we don't want to always identify that person. You want to make sure that your staff knows that they were exposed to someone with the virus, but I wouldn't go around saying, gee, Joe Smith had it, so now you're possibly infected, okay? Don't use the guy's name or the gal's name, but let's try to identify it just by a person and that the person was identified as positive or negative COVID. When can that employee come back to work? Well, we have different standards that have been set. The most important thing is to actually contact your medical provider at this point because those standards seem to change on a regular basis. Usually it's testing, making sure the person's no longer shedding virus, and then we can get that person back to work. If they don't have symptoms, not shedding virus, we can get them back to work. And it's tough for us as employers, it's tough for everyone. It is a time of uncertainty, but using common sense and good judgment is really important.